The original objective that we had for Armored Brigade was to create um, a realistic, grand scale, um, real time tactical game that could cover large battles set in Cold War, basically. So it's style based originally, well, since the first day, and the original game, which was released in 2018 as a commercial venture, and previously it was freeware for several years, was two-dimensional, and then with AB2 we decided to move to 3D engine, expanding on the features and expanding on the possibilities that this engine could do, with the objective as well to go beyond Cold War and make the engine flexible for more types of warfare possible. The maps are made, the master maps, which can be up to 60 by 60 kilometers. They are made from satellite data. So we take height data, and then it's manually, well, partially automated, but generally there's a human involved in the phase of populating the height and the river data, and similar with the actual human-made features as buildings, or at least there is some fine-tuning involved. And on this master map, you can select a battle size of starting from 2 by 2 kilometers up to 15 by 15 kilometers. You can set from what side you want the enemy or your size to come. You can set the number of objectives, how long the battle will last. You can set the weather. So it can be winter, deep winter, it can be summer, it can be anywhere in between, and you can select the date and month of every single year. And then once you have set the setting and atmospherical features or visibility, whatever factor you want to put, then you go to the purchase menu, basically, where you have all the units that are available for that specific month and that specific year. And you can purchase anything ranging from reconnaissance units to mechanized and armor infantry, and support units and air support, helicopters or fixed aircraft. So you have a lot of options there. You can play as much as you want. Basically, replayability is infinite in all these combinations of troops and weather and terrain that you can put. The most obvious upgrade in AB2 was 3D engine, of course. That's something that you see the moment you see the first screenshot or video. Um, but the irony is, it almost came by chance, in the sense that we were trying to improve isometric view. We created this semi 3D view, and at one point, the idea was born. Literally, as a matter of 3 days, we decided, okay, but why don't we put everything in a single screen and make in 3D? But it is our objective in that case was to make something. We were kind of terrified by doing 3D because we never did it in the past. We don't have experience with it. We have seen some games doing similar transitions in the past, didn't really end up well. So we were kind of very terrified of that. So we tried a very conservative approach in terms of how to switch the graphics, and we wanted to make a very familiar look to somebody who is switching from AB1 to AB2 to feel, at home, even if it's a 3D. I think it's judging by the reviews and the people response to it, that we managed to do that very properly. Um, so it was a successful transition. Visually, it looks the same, it feels the same. We did the best we could to make it as familiar to the AB1 players. But the moment you start playing, you realize that there is a lot of things. As a matter of fact, for me at least, leaving aside the 3D engine, the all other mechanisms and quality of life improvements within the engine makes I basically don't play AB1 anymore, because it it feels much better to play AB2 with all these new mechanisms. It does feel as a different game, um, even if it looks fairly similar, except in 3D. The scenario generator is there. We are planning some improvements for dynamic campaigns, which we feel do have a lot of potential to be improved. As far as the roadmap for AB2 that we're releasing is concerned, we have many improvements which are planned and being worked upon currently. For example, the key binding is being released right now in a certain way, so it was highly requested feature. And then we have, other than at that point, I can announce the DLC, but also AI stances, which is something that we felt is really necessary in this type of game, because especially if you're playing with delay, because unlike traditional war games where you can instantly react, in this kind of game, I mean, you have two development paths there. You can either go by instant reactions, so the player can multi-manage, or you can go with some kind of tactical AI, which gives your units and AI units as well a certain level of semi-independent thought, let's say. Then we also have ammunition algorithm improvements, which currently already works, but we believe there are some additional improvements that could be made, and it's tied to other features as well that we already. And the other things that we are working is, as I said, as I mentioned, a dynamic campaign rework that is set for the next year, because it's going to be a major work, and there is a lot of thought, even not necessary work, involved in how to create something that works properly and has to be tested as well very extensively. We decided to select Scandinavia because we felt that was the last major area in Europe that we have not covered so far. And Sweden in particular was my long-standing wish, because they also have an extremely unique equipment, a lot of domestic industry, starting from smaller arms to vehicles and even aircraft. So even if it's a relatively small nation compared to the, let's say, major players of Germany, it still have a very potent military and armed forces with a different approach in how to. They were primarily a defensive army, but a very interesting approach to warfare, which was different from other countries. And Norway was a logical choice because they are neighbors, so and it's relatively minor army compared to the Sweden. But in terms of Cold War, it was certainly a major player because Scandinavia and approaches down the coast of Norway were highly important for NATO, especially in the naval perspective. Securing the bases was highly important for Soviet submarine force. So, and Denmark, again, a relatively minor player, but still have a very interesting mix and combination of forces. It was certainly a playable faction. It was not numerically huge, but it certainly had a proper army. And we already have the Lubeck map, which was introduced in AB2, is the sector of responsibility of Jutland division. So it made sense to have Denmark as well, because we already have a master map. That's the area which was primarily covered by Danish and German forces and some British reinforcements. So this new DLC is slated to be released in December of this year. So it will be a nice Christmas present. Or I hope you will appreciate it, and you will like the content that we will release with it. And I would like to say thank you to all of you in audience for listening to this interview. It is always a great pleasure to share what we are working on. And you can also always chat with us developers on Discord forum or Matrix channels, whatever you prefer. So it was a big pleasure, and until the next time.